Funny. I'm gonna try to make. Never know what something may seem. So I have to like everything. Okay, so yes, I am not making this up with the title. I really think Star Wars that's like might be one of the best Star Wars show, if not the best, because it does a lot of things right. Not saying there's nothing wrong with the show. There are some nitpicks that you can find, but like I even have some nitpicks about it. Don't get into, but I just put it up for start screen. I didn't want other screens to come up first because they are so bright, and I didn't want to be start out or just straight up flashbang. But okay, first of all, I want to talk about the character. First, the sisters, A and Osha. Okay, a lot of people do not get this, but May, this is her full name, by the way. I know it, but they just call her May for short. A lot of people don't understand that May was out for revenge. She thought her family, her whole family, died. Thought her whole family was taken away from her. I can straight up tell you, I can understand that point of view. Now, as far as what happens in episode 4 and 5. But let's go on. First off, if you haven't watched the show yet, if, I'm going to warn you that it might be. I'm gonna try to avoid the spoiler, but a lot of stuff can be seen on this page. I'm gonna try to avoid as much of spoiler as possible. But from the start, her whole setup was revenge for her family. She thought her family was either dead, killed by the Jedi, but her whole life for years was taken away from her to a point. There's what she had. Basically had no one. Everybody she knew and loved was gone. That's what she thought. So what did she do? She was upset and she revenge. That's basically what it down to. And she didn't want a type of revenge that people didn't go like find to see. She just wanted to straight up say, you know what? I'm not going to be around the bush. I'm not going to try to up on them. I'm going straight up to them and ask them to fight. Which doing that, look, if somebody tell you they just want to straight up fight you and they don't hold back and they just stand like they want to just straight up fight, bold. That's some bold stuff. You don't want to know why? Because somebody like that is that bold to say they want to straight up just fight you, and you can clearly tell from the start of the fight. Oh no, they've been trained. Like if they fight your whole gang and you win and just beat the bricks off of them, you can tell she was trained. You go, oh no, she's serious. You want to straight up fight you. If they do that, if somebody do that, you just I because if they can fight that well against a bunch of people, then when they come up to fight you, you can see they still have talent and stuff. So they wasn't playing around. So that's what I'm saying. Her whole trip was basically a revenge trip. Also, this is a reason I don't use this. I don't use this window browser as my personal one. All these ads and pop ups, I'll pop so much power block. I really hate. up here. This wouldn't be here. All of this is a no. So OSHA, on the other hand, is the weakest of the sister. I can say. And I say weakest, not just weak, because her story is was she's gifted with the force, but the thing is, not the same with her. Just basically, oh, basically they have the physical force powers. She can do force pull and push. She can save herself, and we don't know if she can. She probably the big force pull and push is the basic stuff. Force lightning, healing, all of that is more advanced. Then there's the master stuff. Basically, just take all of a lot of basic and everything amplified. But she's hers is more mental. Hers force mind reading and stuff and all of that. That's her strength. But see, on the other side of it is she also has foresight. So stuff like that, mental stuff, she's good at that. Combat is not her forte, and I can't understand that. Yeah, I mean, it says I thought it was going, but main overall character is more mental, strong. She has a strong mindset, and that's basically the contrast between one is more physical strength, where she's able to fight and hold on. Other mental strength, where she's able to reach the situation. But as far as fighting, if you look at it in combat, in their combat, when they first start fighting, one is like, okay, I can hold my own, I can fight back. But the other, the other is like, I am petrified with fear when it comes to combat. OSHA, every time combat happens, she just stands there like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. They, on the other hand, is like, oh, when a fight is going, she's just come back swinging everything, and then when a fight is not going her way, when to back out and do other stuff. And in this later episode, you can see May's weakness. And here's the thing: like I said earlier, her sister is strong with mental stuff. May's weakness is the mental. So when this person, go get into them later. I could get it now because I'm talking about me and OSHA, but I'm trying to go down. When the stranger, as they call him, because he really doesn't have a name, is the man with no name. But yeah, he doesn't have a name, so they did not know who it was because of. I forgot to bring this up because they basically did mental blocks on themselves. So OSHA is able to protect her mind from outside interference, right? Or that's what we know so far. May, on the other hand, is not as strong. Her mind is so. In this recent episode, you can see the results of that. You can see the results of each of their strengths and that's really good. That's really good storytelling because a lot of people don't know story. Like you can make a big and a lot of convincing battles and stuff, which is a part of it. But when you get down to the storytelling, you have to be open to the nuances, the little stuff that people don't notice. And like when I first watched it, I was listening to something like, okay, in the first episode, one sister, you can tell. First of all, there's no hiding that they were twins from the start. In one scene, you see one sister, long hair, fighting, coming out swinging and stuff, and then you see the other sister, very next scene, short hair and stuff. Like, okay, so they're not the same. Then you look at one forehead, one have the mark, the other one does. So you can tell they wasn't the same person. So them being twins was not being hidden. Okay, that's understandable. Then you go to the next episode, and I don't want to spoil it. I'm trying not to spoil it. I was starting to get into spoiling, and then I had to catch myself. But their dynamic is it's like sister with me. Like in the third, like a lot of people don't know this. Uh, the Acolyte is uh, I should get on. I'm going to continue with talk about why I like this, but and going to go on to my gripes and problems with it. Like mine's is not as because for me, I like okay. I grew up on Star Wars. A lot of people have, but the difference is I didn't see some of them. I seen episode one and two, and the first two that came out, not episode one and two, but the first two that came out in theater. But I didn't see the first one when it came out in theater the first time. I seen this. I seen the second one when it came out there the first time. I seen the first one when it came out there the second time. You know what I'm saying? The all of Star Wars literally have been put out in there. The first two shows have been put out there multiple times. So I grew up in watching them like on TV and you know in theaters. Tell you how I got into theaters, but we got into theaters. Uh, yeah. So I grew up on that, and then you 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 know stuff about Star Wars. Like people today are looking at Star Wars, coming to Star Wars and thinking, oh, it's all about the lightsabers and stuff. No, Star Wars has a lot of political stuff in Star Wars. It has a lot of stuff that people forget about, like like the battle droids. They had made in one of the movies. They made a whole thing about the battle droids and clones and everything, and that led up to the Clone Wars. You where it's going? Like a lot of stuff leads to one leads to other. Now, anyway, May and Ocean, because I really think their character are a good dynamic. Was out from revenge. Like people don't get this. Episode one, she basically came in trying to for revenge. In episode two, she finally she runs into her sister and realized, oh no, not no. And then by episode three is basically the backstory episode. Episode four is where we see her we see her struggling with going through with the revenge because they're all upset and everything. But now you see what's going on. Because in episode one, she went after one of the Jedi's, got her revenge. Episode two, she went after the second one, got her revenge there. But then she run into her sister and realized, oh no, wait, my sister's still alive. Episode 3 is the backstory of what happened. Episode 4 is where you can see, like in episode, the end of episode 2, you can see her mind just was blown because she thought her sister was gone. She didn't believe her sister was still alive. On episode 4, you can see her going through the struggle of mentally understanding, like, oh, am I doing this right? I'm going after these people for revenge, but my sister's alive. And what did she like? People don't get the only thing Osha wanted. Sorry, the only thing May wanted was her family. That's what she wanted back. So by end of the episode, by well around the middle of the episode, um, May decided that she was gonna turn herself in. And like that makes sense when you think about it, because she was doing all of this because she was upset about her family, and that means the one thing she wanted back was her family. She saw her sister. She realized her sister is alive. So now she's going to be like, no, I don't want to hurt them. I just want my sister back. And like, I can't understand that feeling. I really can't. I mean, I don't have a twin. I never had a twin, but I have lost a brother to health situation. Like, he was a pain in the ass, but but still family. Also, my mom to health. Also, a lot of family health situation. That's why I'm so on edge about mine. And me being on edge about mine caused more problem with mine. And I hate Psycho. I'm trying to stay, but that's purely unjustified. They felt. And as far as OSHA, like just she just wanted, thought she can be a Jedi. She wanted to be a Jedi. She put the train, worked hard. She did everything, but she realized it wasn't for her. Go back to, it's kind of funny when you go back into, like, a lot of people didn't catch this, but when you go back to the first, you go first episode, then you look at the third episode. Their mothers, one of their moms also was talking to them about this, and realize also this symbol that's not tattoo or anything. That's literally on her. That's basically been etched. When you look at their mothers, one of them were more focused on raising their kids discipline, heavy on the discipline. The other one was more raising kids heavy on the training, stuff like that. And like they had a dynamic as well, and that's another interesting. Like just for that one episode, you realize the family had a dynamic. Try not to go into too much detail, but there was an interesting dynamic you probably didn't know, didn't pay attention, and that's the funny thing. As that episode went on, you realize that this mother, the one that wanted their kids in a or regiment and training setup, realized that she had to be more disciplined towards the kid, and that's when I don't want to spoil it, but that's when she. So that's why I think it's really good. And then there's another thing about York and Jackie. Here's the thing. Somebody had a I was watching some video earlier and somebody pointed this out to me. Um York, by the time York became a Jedi Knight, was far older most Jedi Knights are when they become Jedi Knights. And that's the thing. I'm like, okay. When I first when I first saw him in the scene, I thought, okay, he's just a stickler for the rules. He's so stuck up and everything. I'm like, I don't like people like that. But every time he went into it, he like, okay, he don't hold down to the like. I don't like people like that. You so much of truth. But it took somebody pointed out his age is the thing. York was brought into the Jedi Order very young, right? But didn't become knight until far older. Most Padarons become knights. It's basically like if you know anything about school, especially in the USA, they they give you from basically 10 years of training. Basically, it's like elementary school and high school go off to college. But he didn't graduate from college until his 20s. I mean, basically, yeah, he didn't graduate from. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He didn't graduate from college until late 20s. Whereas other people, other Jedi's and Padawan, they will be basically it'd be the same. Basically, what happened is he didn't get to the point where they felt comfortable or strict training for him until later on, where other Padawans would have basically been through high school and by 14 and through college by 18. You know what I'm saying? He was still he basically was through high school by 18, but didn't get through. He went to college, but didn't take. He didn't make it through college until later on. So based on his exact age, I don't know. They haven't stated his exact age. People are speculating, but from what I can tell, he's basically being played as late 20s to early 30s. Right? If a Jedi make knight by the time before they're around 18 to 20, and he made knight 10 years after that, that means he was struggling to make knight. That's the difference between him. He has, yes, he's sensitive in the force, but he has no talent. So he has force sensitive. He's force sensitive. Doesn't have the. So his in his way, he studied the rules, studied the law, and he trained. But that's the thing. On the other hand, Jackie is the exact opposite. George kept his emotion in check. Jackie, on the other hand, never had an outlet. So while York was stuck up for the rules, he had his reason because he was training. Basically, was trying so hard to graduate, couldn't. So later on, he finally got his graduation. He finally graduated. He finally became a knight. Then for 2 years, he never really had any major missions and stuff, and finally get one where he can go on his own. Goes on his own. The first thing he does is instead of you know physically going with the criminals and bring them in stuff, he put them on transport. And after that happened, he realized his mistake. And what did he try to do? He first thing he did is went back to training. If you didn't know, it's called that. He went back to training, started trying to focus, and when he was told he was selected to go on a mission, the first thing he did is he went to shower and clean up. He went and did all of that really quick because when he was caught, he was basically caught steam cleaning his robes and stuff to try to get ready. And oh, he got caught trying to get ready and ready. He apologized for his mistakes, and he had 5 minutes of great break. If you don't know anything, you know that if you just came out of the shower and everything, you can't get ready in 5 minutes. But that don't mean you'll be fully ready. So he now in 5 minutes he got get his stuff in order, get ready, make sure he got everything, and try to get out the door and be there. So he made his mistakes. Now Jackie, on the other hand, Jackie is basically all talent. He has skills. I'm not saying she don't, but you're gonna have his all skills. If you don't get it, I'm not saying that there are only skills and only. I'm saying that the way they train is different. York trained his skills. He trained hard to get the skills. Jackie already had the talent, so her skills was less of a growth to her, but she had training, and that's the thing. Jackie, Jackie's race is people who are very emotional. They go in. Their background is when they find someone who got good talent, they take that person. They basically just dump as much resources into that person as possible because her people are more into nurturing that talent, but at the same time, they don't have an outlet from out to go outside of talent. If you understand. So Jackie whole thing is he had she studied the rules, but not like York did. On the other hand, she had no outlet for her emotions and feelings because that's the thing. You know, if you did pay attention to the show, when she when she asked Master Soul, I am going. Oh, I forgot. But when she asked Master Soul about his past connections, when she asked him about his past connection, he was like, aren't we supposed to be detached from our past connection? And so it's like, oh, you're not supposed to be fully detached. You must learn from your past. So don't repeat. He got that. He understood that. Was he understood? But her thing is, she never had an outlet for her feelings. So what did she do? Her outlet was training. That's the difference between York. That's the difference between York and Jackie. Jackie was pure talent with training. York was pure training. Well, no, okay, let me put it like this. York was pure skills. He he's force sensitive and everything, but he never had a full acclimation to it. So what did he do? He made sure he read the rule books, understood the rules, he understood all of that. But he trained, but he's not as trained. He didn't go into hard training. Jackie on the other hand is basically she understands the rules, but not to the. She didn't read as much as York did, but she's very much. You could tell she's very much higher training because her race is basically emotion driven. Driven. They drive based. They go based on their feelings and emotion. They're all about praising and bring out the best of their race and their people to a level where if they find out that somebody in their race is good at art, they will give that person as much art and training into the art as possible to bring them up. But that same person who now so good at that art, they don't have an outlet outside of that art. So when they want something else, the race is not really built for that. If you get so when York came to the battle, he realized that the stranger is playing mind games with them, and that's when he understood that he have to uh, not fall for them and separate. What did he do? His first instinct was to stand and fight, but when he was ordered to leave, he left. You might have to tell York twice, but throughout the show, he will put out his plan. His plan's rejected. He's over. He done with. He let it go, which again did what he could. Jackie, on the other hand, is he first asked Soul about why he still have attachment. His Her first thing was to go into question, but she had to catch herself and say permission to speak freely. That's what she had. That's the difference. Like it says she check a calm conduct herself very mature. Yes, she does. She projects it. Yes, she no. How do we know? Well, this is where I get onto. Oh, so I really don't know their backstory. It could be brothers, but right now I don't think they're brothers because he would have recognized. But as far as everything goes, Soul is that he's the middle ground. He's not. He's trained. He also have his emotional attachment. Also have his outlets. He's basically trying to balance all of his stuff with each, and he does it well. But at the same time, he do not tell everyone else stuff in. Like he thought, yeah, he thought OSHA and stuff was dead, which she wasn't, but that's what he thought. Stranger, on the other hand, is more chaotic. When we first meet him, so him, we like, yeah, we didn't know, like, we didn't know if he was who he was, what his backstory in it. We just know him as a friend or associate. He was basically he basically gave her the drugs and stuff, the weapons. He basically was her armory. Basically gave her the everything she needed to fight. But people was like, well, there's a good chance she's a step, which again wasn't hidden. But for me, I didn't really think about it because my first thoughts was the shift is probably made because he had to be like, well, as we want to make. Now, another. People pointed out that there is some problems because he not really calling himself a Sith. He said, "You might call me Sith," as in he's not a Sith. Now, something else I noticed when going back and doing some research. Um, the showrunner Leslie, I can never pronounce her name. I'm gonna get into this a little. Leslie Headline. She 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 done a lot of misdirect, right? Like I'm seeing her like, okay, I don't like I got to the point where the directors, showrunners, stuff, even actors, I don't take their word for. I basically watch the show and stuff myself, and then a lot of people was saying that um, he said, "Oh no, like there's this big fight scene with the Wookiee and everything." I'm like, wait, in season three, it not sorry, not season, in episode 4 and 5, the Wookiee is confirmed dead. I'm like, that means oh, more back. There's going to be another flashback. A jump cut to right before his death and what led up to that. I'm like, in the promotion, and then when I look back at, I can't play the video. When I look back at the video and stuff, there was times when in the video trailers and stuff, the Wookiee was fighting. I'm like, wait, that didn't happen in the show. And I'm like, because they did this before. If you go and watch some of the video, a lot of stuff that's in those videos, it's not in the show, at least not yet. So that means there's going to be more flash. And it was confirmed that there's going to be. But that's the thing Leslie did. He say something. They say that people say like, oh, she was walking around with the Wookiee and acting like it was going to be a big part of the show. But it's again, it's episode 558, so could be, but have 3 more episodes for the next. So it could be the fact that the Wiki play a bigger part in the next two episodes. He also got confirmed that it's the episode 7, so it's more flashback. So that means the next week episode is going on probably episode 6 or 7. I have to look. If the next week episode is not flashback, then it'll be the following week, and then they have. But did it well where she made it seem like know, there will be more scenes with people. Like people bring out the actor who played Trinity in Matrix as they say she was going to be a big part of the story. I'm like, he was in a backstory, but that's the thing. That was a misdirect. I Leslie did been doing a lot of misdirect, and people didn't catch on to that. Like I'm like, wait a minute. Let's say said the Wookiee was going to be a big deal. The Wookiee died by episode 5. Maybe they're more in the backstory, but we don't know yet. Then they said the actor who played Trinity was going to have I can't remember her character name. Basically had died so early on. I'm like, oh wow, and that well, I'm like, okay, she had more time in the backstory, right? Episode 3. And then in episode after that, I'm standing there like, okay, there's no more backstory. But then people say, no, Then they came out and said, no, there can be more backstory. Flashback. I'm like, ah, I see what they're doing. I see what they're doing now. It's just a lot of what they're saying is misdirect. Like people was like, where's Yoda? Why is there no Yoda? Then I went look back at some of the old trailers and stuff. Like, oh, Yoda was in the trailers and promotion. Like, wait, what? But then recently they say, yeah, there's Yoda is not going to be in the show. I'm like, wait, what? But I'm like, could this be a misdirect to the misdirect? Because it's like, oh yeah, the person who played Yoda at the time was not available. I'm like, but they have promotional stuff and trailers where they was in it. I'm like, more misdirect. But anyway, all right. Now on to my problems with the show. I still pick. This came up earlier. Here's my biggest problem with it's not the writing because the writing is actually fine. It's Star Wars. The writing style is trying to go back to the old shows and movies. And if you look at the old shows and movies, they they always have this big catch at the front to get you in. The fight scene with the first episode. Then they have backgrounds of everybody and what they're doing now, what's going on, everything. Then they do a flashback, or it basically be a lot of the same thing. And then they go into a small time when there's some fighting. Like like there's a catch to get you in, and then there's. So I'm like, okay, but here's my problem with the show. We have 5 episodes, and their total is this is 2 hours and roughly 2 hours and 38 minutes. That's my problem with the show. You multiply this by 60, 5 by 60. It's 2 hours, 38 minutes. It's rolled down to the second. And this is where my problem with the show is. It doesn't feel episodic. It just doesn't. It feels like a movie. And I'm like, I want to sit and just watch the movie all in one go. That's my biggest problem with it. The first the first 5 episodes. This is the how long the first 5 episodes. This is every episode minus introduction, minus outro per episode. Like this is first 5 episodes, and I noticed that this episode and this episode are the same, but I might be off by 1 minute on this. And these it's basically these 5 episodes could be that clean. Cause look at the time. Like I might be 1 minute off on this. This could be 1 minute off because I think at first when I first calculated, I had this here. Like okay, but when I went back and looked at the episode again, it was slightly off. So instead of like I rounded, and when I rounded, it went down by one. So it was like 6 and 20 seconds. It's only like 50, 40 seconds, so I'm up around the count. So this could have been just basically around there. But the 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 point is, wait, I just called it 40. One was 40 and one was. Oh no! there was, it is mirror. Even the minutes that even the even okay, even right now, the first 5 episodes are mirror. Even the time is mirror because you don't notice the I'm gonna put it up. Like if you don't know the name of the shows are all mirror, like Lost and Found, Binge and Justice. That's neat. This is the only one that's not. But is it? Is it not? And look at it. Lost and Found, Lost and Found, Binge and Justice, Destiny. Two episodes are day and night. So, okay, one, two. What are you doing? One, two. What is this episode name gonna be? No, not this episode. This episode. This episode was named Night. This episode was named Day. Also found Revenge and Justice. Revenge and Justice. Again, the title of this episode is named Revenge. So they one of the sisters on the side of Revenge, which yeah, it's the Acolyte. Other side's on the side of Justice, which is OSHA. They is on the side of Revenge, side of Justice. Lost family. In episode one, OSHA realized her sister was not lost, but they still think her sister's lost. OSHA, now that OSHA know she wants justice for the people, but May's still going for revenge. And these two episodes called Day and Night. So that means got two episodes. Boom, two more. What's this episode name? What's the opposite of Destiny? That's my guess. And we don't know yet because it haven't been released. So if this episode is the opposite of Destiny, Destiny, what could it be a name? Choice? Free will? Liberty? Could it be any one of these? Then that would make sense. It's the opposite. Ah, so basically playing on their sister, that play on a sister like that. Like the the sisters are not sisters are basically the catalyst for the story. They lead the story. They're maybe the central character, but they're not the main character. You know what I'm saying? It's basically like the Great Gatsby. Was there, but he wasn't the main focus. Could the sister be the main focus in later episodes, these final episodes? Yes. They was the main focus in like episode one, two, and three. For episode four and five was less focused on them and more on everybody around them. So, but yeah, this is my biggest problem with this. It feels like it would be so much better as a movie with all of it connected. Now, onto this. I am so tired of people getting this wrong. This, all of this, the time for this is all of this is just for episode. Like here. Oh, go back here. I'm gonna go back to where I had it. Basically, I can pull it. It had a list of the total time. It had a it had both. So basically, the Acolyte time, watch time was set up. A lot of people think, oh, it's like, uh, but a lot of people getting the watch time. The, the this this watch time was just for the for one episode. Oh, a lot of people saying, well, they're actually calculating the watch time for both. No, it's just for the one episode. This number is strictly for one viewership. All of this, 100% for one. They didn't calculate it in all of it for one. So we know because how we know. Five. Yeah, last week to the watch time. Had calculated what they thought it was, what they suggested. Look at how many. This is the watch time for the last episode. What their estimate is the watch time for the preview episodes. The first episode was like 320. Uh, no, had it up. I must have accidentally or omitted it out. You make mistakes. Um, but basically, what it come down to is people was calculating the numbers wrong when it came up with viewers. It was like, well, the first episode of Acolyte didn't get this many views because they're calculating the total number of views for not both episodes, which they were never doing that. Yes, I know that. I'm trying to find minutes. I think it, okay. Here it is. See this? Oh, 380, right? They did this based on just the first episode. Like, if you read, if you're still saying it, because I might pull up the most. Read this. The way they calculate it is took the last time for one episode. Not both, just the one. They put it over the amount of time uh, of that one episode. They probably did for both episodes and then averages it out. They could have done that, but they did not do it for. They did not take the watch time. This. This is the watch time. Also, if you notice, this is the first previous estimate in second episode. They did what they did not do is they did not take this watch time for both episodes. Now, a lot of people misunderstand this as well. This is not just for one episode. Here's how they did it. Oh no, it's here. They have how they do it. But the 21st, oh, here's the thing. That is Friday to a Thursday, right? But that's not a Friday to Thursday. They say the 21st is they they stop on the when they say the 21st, they start at night. They go into Thursday night or at midnight. So not for any episode that came out. They go for the episodes that the previous episode that started week of this week. This is all the views for um, the episode that came out not last week, previous week. This is the views for that the show that came episode that came out. So new episode came out so that during the time they was doing the calculations for this. So that episode was not included into this number. That's what people get. This is just one episode came out. That's how they calculated. The new episode haven't been calculated. Came out and they're probably right now the way they're doing it. It just came out. They normally put this out at the end of the week. So the new numbers haven't been. So that's how they got this number. Now here's the thing: a lot of people are also compare these numbers. I try to go to a darker to other shows. Mind you, you have to understand this as well. A lot of people go into other shows at home more. So those shows will get more, right? Because people like, I'm at home, I might as well watch it. I understand it. 10 to 20 years ago, if a show got 1 million views, it could be grounds for two or renewal. If a show got 2 million, that show will get renewed for another season. Now, people think if a show get 10 million views, over 10 million views, that it's a flop. When it's not, right? You may think show's a flop I think the show's a flop, but again, this show had over 11 million views in 5 days. And mind you, that again, that is just those 5 days. The show is still on Disney Plus. That means in this time, from then until now, more people can have watched the first episode. So this number could be higher. And also, again, this is the five just for those 5 days, man. Ahsoka debut. This is not actually a full number because again, how do they calculate this? This is not from that the day of release because the first show came. Look at when this came out. When did the first show came out? The first episode came out that Thursday, right? I can came out that Thursday. So they started calculating it from Friday. Why did they do that? Because Thursday was not Thursday for everybody. So if they start calculating that Friday, how did this get released? How does this get released the same day the show came out? Right? So this they had a release of the show when it came out. This trial was posted on that day, but it wasn't released. So they started the post on that day. They updated it. And this is the update. They updated it with new information. We don't know the full information yet because again, the show is not finished, and there are people who will wait for the show to come out and binge watch all of the episodes at once. So the first 5 days of some shows are not always fully saying all. When Ahsoka came out, right one, people just started going back to work, so there was still people. And if you don't know, Ahsoka was also a review bomb. It was also a review bomb on Rotten Tomatoes. This is why I say Rotten Tomatoes is not review bomb on Rotten Tomatoes. Running slow. It was a review bomb on Rotten Tomatoes. Now look at it; it's gone up. Up. What happens when you review bomb stuff? They don't. It goes up. Ahsoka. Look, yes, season two has been confirmed. It was a review bomb. It has been confirmed. Endor had the lowest reviews of any of the shows for the first few episodes. They also got season two. Why I tell people careful the haters say because again it came in sixth place and a new updated information is coming at night. My biggest problem with this show is it doesn't feel like episodic. It feels like a movie. It's all it feels like it's been cut up from a movie. Is the storyline bad? No, not really. You can find some stuff you can nitpick, and I understand it. There's parts I can nitpick as well. Like, why did uh uh why first of all, like why did he let himself get caught in a trap? Then I thought, oh, um, he was playing. It was a ruse. He got out of it and killed the. Like at first, I'm like, how did the Wookiee die? I don't know. And then after I thought about it, like, I see how. And why Jackie, the way Jackie, I'm like, why is Jackie act like this? She was so calm. Like, I remember. Like, wait. Now I look up her race. I'm like, I see why she was so aggressive. Like, I'm like, it makes sense. Why were York? Why did York, you know, act the way he did? I'm like, it makes perfect sense. Why he's a stickler for the rules is because it took him longer to get to become a knight, so he tried as hard as possible. And why did Jackie just was yelling and raging? Because she didn't have an outlet. Or her one outlet was training, fighting. That's why she was able to hold her own, but ultimately lost because she was not focused, to not keep herself in check, to not just basically leave herself open. Where York, on the other hand, was York York was able. If York had more time to fight or more time in it, he probably could have been a better fighter than Jack. Because the reason why York would die because as soon as he seen the strange face, he was like you, and he left himself open. Jackie, on the other hand, was balls to the wall. She was going at it. And then she left herself open. She broke his helmet off, and then went in for a open strike, and that's when she paid. So, like people are saying it's bad. I don't see. Is it the best? Not really, but like all of the old shows and stuff were similar. So you have to, instead of looking at it like, no, look at it like a movie. Like episode 1 and 2 was the introduction, first first introduction of character. So episode 3 was a backstory. Episode 4 was the build up to episode 5, which fight scene. Now we are episode 5, 5 and 6 is not the point of climax to the show. Episode 5, 6, and 7 could be episode 5, 6 could be climax. 7 could be more backstory, and episode 8 could be the conclusion of the first season. That's how it could be, and that makes perfect sense. Like if they did episode 3 later on in the show, it will be wildly out of order, and you want to know which is which. I'm like, wait, why is they doing a backstory now? He did this before. They could have done a backstory before the conclusion, but then it'll be like there'll be more questions for episode 4 and 5 that need an answer. Like so it makes sense there the way they did it. So 1 is introduction, catch, and so 2 is more not only more character introduction, but more of them understanding more of their personality and stuff. Episode 3 was a backstory episode, which he didn't know all of this stuff. Like, okay, what happened? So 4 was a lead up episode, basically lead up to episode 5. Because again, every episode up first 2 episodes was um was the startup, lost and found, revenge and justice, and then say destiny. And episode 4 and 5, sorry, yeah, 4 and 5 was day and night. So I'm guessing this episode is gonna be the next episode is gonna be something opposite of destiny, so it can be free will. Where you going? So like you can tell The Acolyte is being made by people who actually care about Star Wars. Unlike some people who like they say they're fans of Star Wars, but they really don't know. Because again, I almost forgot about this. Um, Porter Monday age was never lore in canon. There was no there was no he was never canon. There was no canon for him. It was never stated what his age was. And what people are trying to pull up is a non-canon sources, multiple non-canon sources. They're trying to pull up the CD-ROM, which if you look in the CD-ROM from 1999 and the card game, one of them said his lightsaber color is purple, but in the show it's blue. Or sorry, not the show. Well, no, in the show and the movies. Yeah, that also happened in the show. I'm like, oh, well, wait, no, that's true as well in the show. His lightsaber color is blue, but in on the non-canon stuff it says purple. It was a problem. Like that's what happened. So his edge will never established. How long his people live for was never established in lore. So that's really fly out the window. And like we don't know, Yoda could be in the final few episodes. We don't know yet. We just don't know. So people being upset about that. My biggest gripe is I it doesn't feel epic. Thought about it. Really, not many of the other Star Wars stuff actually were sort of outside the anime stuff. But the show, all of the shows, none of them felt episodic. Each season felt like a movie. And this is what I tell people. Before there was different levels of canon to Star Wars. Now there is canon and legend. So now Star Wars is between legend is non-canon. What happens in the shows and the movies are canon now. What happened in the books and stuff, legend. Legend doesn't mean they can't be pulled into the canon, but the books and stuff cannot could be not. Also, I forgot that his helmet is made of corset. Corset is corset can short out lightsabers on touch. That's why in that last episode their lightsaber went out. But it also brittle. Enough impact can easily break it. That's what happened in the episode. So I'm like, I remember reading stuff about the medals of Star Wars, and I'm like, wait a minute, wasn't there one that showed out lightsabers? I couldn't remember the name. Then I looked it up, and like people had talked about it. I'm like, that's the name. So I remember like people was like, oh no, watched some videos. People like, oh no, this is like Beskar. No, Beskar is not like this because Beskar was durable to the impact, but they never really showed it out like this. Foreshadowing on that hand is brittle, but on touch it was showed out lightsaber. So it made perfect sense. Like also people talk about how his fighting style, he did not he didn't when he was fighting, did not start and stop his lightsaber. Did it? What he did is he would while he was the fight actually fighting, he would keep the lightsaber on, and then when he no, not fighting, they say he would turn it off. When between the fight, he would turn it off. Then when the fight started, he would turn it back on and keep it on. So he wasn't turning when he was stabbing Jackie. Yeah, no, that was on the whole time. He just stab, stab, stab. It was on the whole time. He did not turn it off. How do we know? Because when she fell, he still had it on, then turn it off. So that was just him stabbing her 3 times, quick succession. But anyway, I'm trying to make sure I get everything. But yeah, the haters about the show, I don't care about Rotten Tomatoes score. I don't care about any of that because we know that people put up bots to basically match down. And then when you look at some of what the bot says, it's not what happened in the show. It's not. And you can tell they got their orders from somebody else. They go on the Rotten Tomato and stuff and just repeat it. But a lot of the stuff is not happening in the show. Anyway, that's why I don't trust a bunch of Rotten. When it comes to show, movies less likely because you have to prove you have to have a ticket, bought the ticket, and you have your account and stuff connected for your stuff to be verified, which is a good thing. But the shows, anybody can make a comment. Anybody can make a post. Somebody can make a bot to leave a bunch of comments and downvote the show. And at that point, I don't care. If it's not verified, it's it's worthless. But anyway, later.